If you want a luxury car for every occasion that will also get you noticed in a sea of sedans and SUVs, then you might want to take a look at this car, the all-new Audi A7 Sportback. This second generation model brings more technology and luxury features than ever before, all while improving on practicality and styling. As it turns out, choosing between the A7 and the Mercedes CLS has become harder than ever. The car I'm driving features a 3-liter turbo diesel V6 unit rated at 286 metric horsepower and 620 Newton meters of torque.
By now you may have noticed the 50 TDI Quattro badge on our test car, and I wish I could explain to you why it's there. Unfortunately, I can't, because Audi chose a completely random way of naming its new models. The 50 in the model's name is a vague hint to the engine's power, not its displacement. So, when you see the 50 badge on an Audi from now on, you should know it has between 286 and 313 metric horsepower.
The engine is assisted by a 48-volt mild hybrid system, and that's why Audi calls this car an MHEV, which stands for Mild Hybrid Electric Vehicle. You won't notice interventions from the mild hybrid system because it works so smoothly. However, there is one instance when you're made aware of its existence, and that's during coasting. Coasting means that if you lift the throttle between 50 and 130 kilometers an hour, the car will decouple the engine from the transmission. Of course, that won't last forever, but you'll have about 40 seconds of coasting available at one time. I should say that the coasting function only works in efficiency mode, so you have to make sure you're in that driving mode before expecting your car to coast. The engine is mated to an 8-speed Tiptronic automatic transmission that sends power to all four wheels via Audi's quattro system. You do feel that all wheels are driven when you push the throttle, because this thing goes like crazy. You know, it doesn't matter if it rains, if it's dry. The A7 50 TDI, because that's the name of this car, the official name, goes like crazy in a straight line at least. Despite carrying this Sportback name, the A7 is not a performance machine. If you select dynamic mode and put the transmission in sport, as I've just done, you get the maximum out of the 3-liter engine in terms of performance. You do feel the car's 2-ton mass in corners, but the A7 is quite docile and predictable. But you must never forget that you're in a heavy car and you must not overdo it. When the roads get straight, you feel that it's a very planted car. It feels very eager to swallow thousands of kilometers. Audi's well-known interior quality is at its best in the A7. Mind you, not everything here is standard, so you need to pay extra for things like the soft leather upholstery, the leather-covered dashboard, and the S-Line goodies. With some minor exceptions, the plastics are high quality, and the fit and finish is excellent. I could really get used to this every day. This particular car comes with optional seating for 3 in the rear, but having 3 tall adults here on longer trips might not be the best idea. Those assigned the middle seat are bound to resent you because their feet will be in constant struggle with the bulky transmission tunnel. While knee room is generous and leg room is adequate, the sloping roofline eats into headroom. I'm 6 foot tall and I can just about squeeze in, but taller passengers won't fit so comfortably.
When it comes to cargo capacity, the A7's boot has a volume of 535 liters, which is more than in the CLS, but less than in the 6 Series GT. Like the BMW, the Audi is a 5-door fastback, which means access to the boot is good thanks to the massive tailgate. The cabin comes with plenty of storage spaces. There are 2 cup holders in the front and 2 in the rear, as well as roomy door cards. The dash even houses a surprisingly deep storage space left of the steering wheel. As with the new A8, the A7 adopts the latest generation MMI infotainment system that ditches the rotary controller for touchscreen-only operation. Our car had the optional MMI Navigation Plus that combines a 10.1-inch central touchscreen with the 12.3-inch Audi Virtual Cockpit. While the graphics are top-notch and the operating speed is superb, we do find the interface somewhat distracting. That's because drivers need to take their eyes away from the road to operate the infotainment screen. Not to mention there is now a second touchscreen for the climate control and seats. The haptic feedback offered by the displays is a nice touch, but you won't get it unless your finger hits the desired icon with accuracy.
This car features an optional comfort suspension with adaptive dampers, and you have 3 modes of damping that you can select. You have comfortable, balanced and dynamic. And I have to say it is pretty comfortable, except when you go over sharp bumps. It then sends jolts to the cabin. I suspect that has a lot to do with the optional 20-inch alloys. The A7 comes as standard with 18-inch wheels, but I think a good compromise would be to select 19-inch wheels. This car also features the optional quattro sport differential on the rear axle, which distributes torque between the rear wheels in the most effective way possible, so that you go through corners very quickly and efficiently and safely. I have to say it's a good thing to have, as is the equally optional and useful all-wheel steering system. The steering is best enjoyed in the dynamic setting when it's at its most precise and stiff mode. There is, however, a slightly artificial feel to the steering wheel, but that's nothing uncommon to electrically assisted power steering systems. I'm sure that by now you have heard the sound this V6 diesel makes. I have to say it's a bit noisy for my taste, especially heard from outside. I think the gasoline engine suits this car much better. If you don't mind to pay more for gas, it should be the one to have. The A7 feels remarkably silent for a car that features frameless windows, and that's because it has double glazed anti-acoustic glass, and that makes all the difference. Even at highway speeds, you won't hear much wind noise, and even tire noise is well suppressed, even though this car features 255 section tires.
The optional extras fitted to our tester cost more than 37,000 euros, driving the car's price to almost 110 grand. That's crazy, but what's even crazier is that the seats lacked ventilation and massage functions, and the car had no sunroof, making the interior a bit dark for my taste. Standard equipment is decent, with highlights such as the LED headlights and taillights, parking sensors, Audi Drive Select, power tailgate, and the MMI navigation with an 8.8-inch display. However, you need to spend big to make your A7 look and feel as special as our test car. The optional features I'd recommend are the dynamic all-wheel steering, 360-degree cameras, adaptive cruise control with stop and go, the comfort suspension with adaptive damping, and the quattro with sport differential on the rear axle.
If you ask me what I love the most about this car, I will say that it is its laid-back nature, its effortlessness, if you like, and many things contribute to that. It makes everything look so easy, you know, from city driving to highway driving to going on a twisty mountain road, even though it's not the car for that, but it can do it if you insist. But many things come together to form this very cohesive package. Leaving aside subjective things, I think it's very hard to fault this car. I mean, it does everything you ask of it brilliantly and in complete comfort and refinement.